Long down the right side. Caught. Touchdown, Washington State.
Booby. He is there. Booby. 60. Long three.
What a catch by Phillip Bobo.
The Palouse is going to pop.
Welcome back to another episode of the Fieldhouse Report. I'm Cougar Carlson, and this is Drew Callahar. Drew, it's been a couple of weeks since our last episode. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm back from Florida. Got some rays. You probably can't tell. I went with the put too much sunscreen on and don't burn method, and kind of ended up not getting very tan. But yeah, it's a trade-off for sure. I've been on the other end of it where you get burnt and it ruins your trips. Went conservative this time, but I came back and everybody's like, "You sure you were outside? You sure you were at the beach?" I'm like, "I promise you I was. I just didn't get this tan."
Yeah, main thing is, do you feel refreshed from visiting Florida?
I do. It was awesome. I got to see my family down there that I don't get to see all that often, so that was cool. We got to go to Disney World, which my daughter is like obsessed with Mickey Mouse, so she was just like in awe the whole time. And yeah, that part of it was great. A lot of people will say, "Oh, don't take your 2-year-old because they won't remember it." Well, I will remember seeing her face, witnessing all of it for the rest of my life. So definitely worth it, and they're free. So
Are they free at that age?
it's 3 and under, I believe, is free.
Oh my
So
gosh. Missed out on an opportunity. We took my daughter when I was 7, and we did not take my son because we thought it would be very difficult, and he wouldn't be able to get on all the rides either. So it was
yeah.
kind of a tough situation.
Well, we just made her. We made her go on all the rides, and she liked most of them. Pirates of the Caribbean was a little scary, but she liked most of them. What about you, man? How have you been?
I have been good. I actually recently just got promoted at my job, so that's the interesting stuff in my life that's going on, and it's been a whirlwind getting started with this new position.
I bet. It's
Yeah.
big responsibilities, but you're bringing in the big bucks now.
I
Awesome.
am bringing in some bucks, that's for sure.
And the house? I mean, new house? Do we not want to
Yeah,
mention that?
we got a new house. We got a new
All
house. That
right.
was very exciting, and we'll be moving in June. It seems far away, but we kind of did that intentionally. So
Yeah, I was teasing it before the show. I was like, why aren't we moving to Pullman?
it's not as if I don't want to come back to the motherland, Drew. Okay, like
Not
for
everybody
me,
gets to
Pullman
do it.
is Disneyland. Okay, like that's how I feel.
It is pretty awesome. Not
Yeah.
everybody gets to do it. I'm very, very blessed to live in God's country.
That's right, you do. Well, we actually both have some exciting news to share. We are going to be doing a podcast at CougsFirst on May 9th in Bellevue. We look forward to seeing you guys there. Be sure to drop any questions, comments, or anything that you want for us in terms of connecting with other vendors, athletes, coaches, or anything in between. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget, I think a lot of people see Cougs First and see the ads for it and whatever, and they think, "Oh, well, if I owned a business or if I was looking for a job." No, this is for all Cougs. It's an awesome event. Tons of alumni there. There's opportunities to look into Coug-owned companies that sell cars, houses, wine, meat, you name it. All the things that anybody out there would buy. This is an opportunity to check out where you can get that stuff directly from fellow Cougs. So it's going to be a great evening. We're really looking forward to chatting with
A
all.
great day.
A great day. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be awesome. So we'll hopefully get to chat with lots of you and hear a lot from lots of Cougs.
Yeah, I think it's great because it's one of those things. We had a very special guest, Glenn Osterhout, class of '83, on, and he's connected with Cougs First, but we got connected with Tony Poston about this, and he was the one that kind of invited us on. But I think what people fail to forget is sometimes making that connection by showing up to an event like this, because there are other like-minded Cougs that are literally there wanting to root for you. And if they don't know you for the space that they're directly in, whether it's one business or the next, I promise you they know someone. It's just a great networking opportunity to meet new people and make sure that you build your network that much more. So if you are in the area or you can make it, please arrive. And obviously, please say hello to us. Come by our booth and give a shout out, and we'd love to see you.
Well, it was a big week on the basketball court. We haven't gotten a chance to recap it yet. Both men's and women took on the WCC tournaments, both one and done, unfortunately. But let's talk about the women first, who just got an invitation to the NIT.
Yeah, this is Cami Etheridge's fifth postseason appearance. I think, a lot of people can just say, well, it's the NIT or it's this or that, but their performance throughout the season shows that this team really is capable of doing some pretty awesome things. But I think it also just goes to show the kind of coach that Cami Etheridge is. And she just got extended along with David Riley. And I think, gosh, if you're any player out there and you see that a coach is extended, she's been here for 7 years. It means she doesn't have her vision going anywhere. If you're a women's basketball player and there's this young player, she's a sophomore out of Davis High School that went to the state championship. Anyways, I forget her name right now, but she's like the state player of the year this year. If you're considering coming to WSU, you got a great coach in Cami Etheridge that can take you to the next level, no doubt, and she's been there herself. But the women's basketball team is phenomenal. Tara Wallach, shout out to her for being a special guest on our show, but each of the ladies, they're just phenomenal this year, and we really should be proud regardless of whether they made it to the traditional NCAA tournament.
Yep. No, totally agree. And I think they're in a really good spot here in the NIT. They get the first round bye, and then I believe they'll most likely get to host. I know that that's not guaranteed, but I think they'll get to host in that second round, which is huge. So you're already looking at a good chance of them reaching the third round of that NIT. And again, like you said, people might scoff at the NIT, but it's postseason basketball, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. This team is really young, so the more chances they get, the more reps in postseason that they get, the better. Because I truly believe the core of this team next year and the year after could be really, really special. So
I 100% agree, and I totally plan on coming if I can to one of those NIT games. That's actually what I do love about the NIT is that if you're a good enough team, you have an opportunity to host a home game. And if you're any Coug fan that just loves being a Coug and wants to come to a game, you should be looking to come to that second round game that the Lady Cougs can host because they deserve our support. Kicked butt, frankly. I'm putting that softly, but they've kicked butt and they've done well. So if you can be there, we'll try and post when that game is. And right now I'm just not looking at it, but I'll certainly try to be there alongside Drew, and we'll see if we can't cheer on our Lady Cougs to victory.
yeah, and then of course the men get the win in their first game in the WCC tournament, and then fall in the second game. And they just got the invite to the college basketball crown tournament that really, when you look at it compared to the NIT, there's a lot of great teams in that tournament that I'm excited to see. Obviously, a first round matchup against Georgetown, which will be fun, and then either Nebraska or Arizona State if we win that game. So a lot of really big brands in that college basketball crown tournament.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about college basketball a little bit more is that even though it's not considered like the March Madness, is there's just a lot more opportunities for teams to continue to showcase and develop. And I think, regardless, I was just excited that they're going to get another opportunity to continue to compete. So,
yeah, absolutely. One little piece of news that just broke before we jumped on is that Isaiah Watts will be transferring out of the program. I believe he'll probably play still in the tournament, but that's not confirmed. Any thoughts on Isaiah transferring?
I think it's one of those things that you kind of got to get used to in this modern day of college sports. It's always hard because you root for these kids. Obviously within our most recent post, we kind of talked about him and the intellect that he had to be able to make that really awesome play.
Yeah.
But, there was also some breaking news around his family and losing his grandfather. And we certainly wish him and his family well. And I wish him well in whatever destination he chooses next. But it's one of those things where I wish it was certainly with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually wearing the Sonics hat tonight in honor of Slick Watts. Just an amazing, not only an amazing basketball player, but just an amazing person to look up to in the Seattle area. There's kids still to this day that are rocking the headband sideways in honor of him. So he was a great man, a great basketball player, and I'm honored to have gotten to watch his grandson play for the Cougs. So wish him the best. Absolutely, fingers crossed. He doesn't, I get it if it's the best for him, but it'd be really hard to see him in purple and gold. But we'll see where he ends up.
It'd be hard to see him in any one of the two colors within the state of Washington. So that actually kind of brings me to my next thing as a quick segue with Lawan Watts, who says at the end of the game, in the game that they lost in the WCC tournament, I'm not going, I'm coming back. We're going to run it back, right? Lawan Watts, if you're listening, if you're watching, do your best to bring Isaiah Watts back because I think he could really help this team moving into next season. Bringing the core back together is going to make it so that you guys are just going to be better next year. There's no doubt about it, and anybody that says otherwise is just crazy.
Yeah, three guys that I really look to hopefully stay in Pullman, but also make big strides into next year is Lawan for sure. Rahard Favors, we saw him really come on strong. Man, yeah, he is one of those guys that when he gets hot and he's just catching and shooting, I don't know what you can do to defend him because his release is so quick. He can shoot while he's practically running sideways. I'm really excited about him. And then the last one is Marcus Wilson, the point guard that we got to see a little bit at the beginning of the year, but was injured for the majority of the year. I think those three guys could be a really solid core. Obviously, there's a ton of pieces to add. We're going to really find out what kind of a recruiter Riley is here in the next 6 months. But if we can retain those three guys, I think we got a good start at a competitive roster next year.
I agree 100%, and I'd love to see that roster stay intact, and we could get off to the races running real quick if we do. With that said, you are not wrong. If David Riley is forced to make some decisions, who is he looking at? Because really, in this modern day of the transfer portal, how much sense does it make unless you're like a 5-star or 4-star recruit out of high school? How much sense does it make to recruit high school kids anymore? You've got to put a lot more focus in who is not getting playing time but was evaluated at a high level coming out of high school from, maybe some bigger programs where they're just not getting playing time and they're riding the bench. Well, you could come over to Washington State this next year and come play for us right away. Wouldn't you want that to gain exposure? So,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, you look at the last tournament team under Kyle Smith, Isaac Jones and Jalen Wells were really two of the biggest pieces of that team, and they were both playing in different places the season before. So I agree. We got to hit the transfer portal hard. I think there's a lot of guys. I see it on Twitter every single day. People saying this guy's got to be a Coug. So there's a lot of great ball players out there, and it's always nice to get somebody that's a little more. I think you need to do both, absolutely. But it is always nice to bring in somebody that's a little more physically mature age wise to come into the program and give you a boost.
yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
Another big announcement that we're extremely excited to make is that we will also be at the QB Classic presented by CougsFirst in Pullman on April 11th. We're really looking forward to speaking with some of our favorite Cougar athletes that'll be at the event. I've been to it before. It's awesome just to see so many Coug legends in one place, but it does make me think, you and I have talked about it a little bit, but what are some of your favorite Cougs of all time?
Yeah, I didn't grow up with it like Drew in his household. I'm going to be so honest. I grew up a UCLA fan. My grandfather and my mother just ingrained that in my life when I was a kid. But I visited Washington State after missing a flight to come and visit the campus. And I drove 21 hours with my parents, had the greatest time. And I mean 21 hours straight so that I
Wow.
could be there the next day to like visit the campus.
Uh,
And that was circa spring 2000. And I went to campus and it just took over me. And then the very next, then the fall comes around and I'm hanging out with everybody in Rogers' dorms. L6, if for
go.
those that don't know, L6 was the floor and side of the room that I was on in Rogers. And we just called it that. Basically, what really cemented my start to Washington State and my love for Washington State athletics and being a Coug was going to the games in '07, but moreover, going to the Apple Cup in 2007 with my dear friends Tyler and Alyssa. You know, they picked me up from the airport having come back from California to visit, and I'm at that game, '07, and you literally just like, I can see it. Like I play it over and over and over again, but I literally like just remember Brink like turning around and like kind of floating one up in the air,
Yeah.
and you got Gibson wide open, and I think it was like the same back-to-back plays, or the coverage was like just looked the
Yeah.
same if I remember correctly. And I mean, you just after that you kind of just prayed that Jake Locker didn't run down and
Oh my
steal it from us
gosh.
because you knew he was capable with his legs.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had done that all game. Is like every time we made an amazing play, he was on the other side finding a way to make it. Well, I gotta say, Alex Brink is
So that's
also
my
a
that's my Coug. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, totally. Totally. Well, Alex Brink definitely played a huge role in my Coug fandom growing up because like you mentioned briefly, I mean, I was a Coug pretty much since the time I was born. I don't ever remember a time that we weren't tuning into games or driving over to Pullman. But 2005 Apple Cup was my first introduction to that rivalry. It was in Husky Stadium. The Cougs were bad, but the Huskies were worse. And I remember vividly. So I was 8 years old at the time, and my dad and I went to the game. We were walking into Husky Stadium, and just the people booing me as an 8-year-old and barking at me. And I remember thinking, okay, this is a pretty serious rivalry. And so we ended up sitting in the Thai Club section at Husky Stadium because my uncle had gotten us the tickets. So we were in like the deep purple section of the stadium. And I remember just riding the highs and lows of that whole game where I was, when you're 8 years old, it's all a pretty big deal. But I'll never forget Brink uh, coming to the line of scrimmage, recognizing that the Huskies were late getting out of their huddle. He hits Harvey down the sidelines, and the band is in that end zone at Husky Stadium, and they're just going crazy. And Harvey runs right into Butch's arms in the back of the end zone there, and that was it. And I just remember standing up with my dad, and we had big Go Coug signs, and just being so proud that day, and listening to Bob Robertson's call of the game winner on the way home driving through Seattle. It was just like, yeah, this is what being a Coug is all about. And just great memories with family and friends, and getting to rub it in the Huskies face.
For sure. Harvey down the sideline. Look at
That's the
him.
one.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
the one.
never
And then there
forget.
was a fight after the game. I don't know if
I'm
you.
I'm not
There
surprised.
was a big
There were some
brawl.
fights
Yeah,
breaking out in '07, but it was in the stands, so nobody really saw it like on TV. Oh,
yeah. No, no, great memories. I hope we get to talk to AB at the QB Classic, and we can relive those memories from his perspective, which was a little closer to the moment than either of us.
for sure, for sure.
All right, and that's it for another episode of the Fieldhouse Report. We really appreciate everyone listening. Be sure to subscribe and like the video so we can keep making more episodes. And we'll hope to see you again soon. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.